everybody. I'm Ryan, and this is Tabitha, and we're here with Locked in Science for today. So today we know that it's getting harder and harder to go to the store and get toys. So we thought that we would show you how to make some things to play with at home. So today we're going to be showing you how to make two things that you might like to play with. We're going to be making our own Play-Doh, and we're going to be making kinetic sand. So one cool thing about the Play-Doh that we're going to be making today, I don't know if you've made your own Play-Doh at home before, is that we're going to be making a kind of Play-Doh that you don't have to cook and that doesn't require cream of tartar, which is the secret ingredient in Play-Doh, and lots of homemade Play-Doh recipes have it, and nobody happens to have that in their house because I don't even know what it is. Or what it's used for. Apparently snickerdoodles when I googled it. So we're going to be showing you how to make a kind of Play-Doh at home that doesn't involve cream of tartar and doesn't involve cooking. It does require a little bit, can you please stop that, of microwaving. And so we're going to start first with our Play-Doh. So the first thing that you need is 3/4 of a cup of water. And Tabby, can you pour that in here? Yep. Okay. Now, to make Play-Doh, it is helpful if you microwave this water. So 3/4 of a cup, and you want to put it in the microwave for just like a minute or so, just to warm it up, because it's gonna absorb the rest of the stuff a little bit easier. So I'm gonna put this in the microwave. I'm gonna set it here for 2 minutes. Okay, and while we're doing that, we'll get our other supplies together. So the first thing that you want is a cup of flour. I know flour is at a premium, but we're going to waste a lot of it right now. So Tabs, can you pour this whole cup right into this bowl? It's not a waste if it's for fun. Okay. Then we're going to combine. We're going to combine a 1/4 cup of salt. So can you pour this in, Tabs? Very good. And now we want to stir this up. Can you stir this up for me? Okay. So again, that's 1 cup of flour and a 1/4 cup of salt. And stir and stir and stir. If you're following along at home, feel free to say hi. We'd love to see you. And let us know, of course, everything you make, if you're doing this along with us. So I'm going to take this out of the microwave now.
And you see that just plain piece of water.
And there's the water. You can see it's starting to get bubbles in it because it's nearing boiling. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to gradually pour. We're not going to pour the whole thing, okay? We're going to pour some of this into the water. All right, and start stirring it.
Again.
Come
on, this thing is only that stirring.
There's going to be a lot of stirring tonight, folks.
Which is very, very what I do not like.
You love stirring.
I know, I sometimes like stirring.
All right, and we're going to put a little bit more in. Tabs.
Just pretending to me bad.
He is pretending to be bad. You're very good and I love you. Okay. So, sort of gets a goopy mixture over here.
It's very gross.
No, it's not very gross. It's almost Play-Doh. And then, stir it in, because you don't want to dump the whole bit in right away. See, look how it's getting more solid. You see that? It does look a bit like whipped cream. And then we'll add the rest of it in here. Okay. And now,
Don't forget this.
The last thing that you want to do, so you want to make sure it's it's pretty powdery. So you might add a tiny bit more.
And then we put gel food coloring.
Not with this right now. Just because we got a lot to do. But look, see, it's starting to get pretty thick and Play-Doh-y. And then once it starts to get pretty thick and Play-Doh-y, we're going to add vegetable oil. Can you pour this in? Right in here. Okay, very good. Whoop. add the vegetable oil in there. Stir it up and up and out. All right, and can you clean up some of this?
Yeah.
Now, as you stir, it's going to get thicker and thicker. And remember that you're going to want to not quite knead it with your hands yet, especially if your water was pretty hot. All right. Now mine is sticking a little bit to me, so we want to give it a little bit of time to cool. It's still a little bit hot here.
Right here.
Thank you. Now, if you have it and you're having a problem with it sticking to you a little bit, let's see.
Daddy.
You can add about a tablespoon's worth of lemon juice.
Which I think is called lemonade.
It's not quite lemonade, because lemonade has some other stuff, and I just squirted a bit too much in there. But this will help it sort of be a little less sticky.
Dad,
So we're going to stir this up, and then we're going to let it cool for a little bit.
Dad, can I tell you a question?
Yeah.
After this, I want to tell you if we can do an experiment together, but without on the computer.
We will. We'll do another experiment that's just you and me. So here, over here, this is sort of a look at a Play-Doh. And you can play with it there. Once it cools, it's going to start getting really Play-Doh-y there.
Play with it?
Right. So we're going to let it cool, because right now it's a little sticky. So we're going to let it cool a bit.
You mean sticky?
Sticky.
You said sticky.
Who knows what I said. We're getting to that point in quarantine where, I can't talk anymore. All right. So now, while we're letting our Play-Doh sit, and while you guys are finishing this up, we're going to start making some kinetic sand. Okay? Kinetic sand. You know that kind of sand that we play with that sort of that isn't messy? We're going to make some of that sand here. The kind of sand we can play with inside.
You mean the green sand?
Yeah, ours is green. All right. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get what, Tabs?
Food coloring oil.
A cup of food coloring oil. We're going to get 1 cup of water and 1 teaspoon of dish soap, and you're going to mix it together until it starts kind of bubbling.
Why are you wasting dish soap?
I'm not wasting it. It's for fun. So we're going to mix it up in here until, is it soapy?
Can I touch it?
Yeah, of course you can. It's soap. So you really want to get it in there and make it extra soapy. Now we're using Dawn. Dawn tends to work the best, and that's because the chemical. Yeah, that's because the chemical composition of Dawn is slightly different than other uses. And you want to make sure that it's really soapy in there. The reason for that is that that's what's going to give what's going to allow the sand to sort of cling together and the molecules of the sand to not just drift apart. Okay, so here you go. So then you're going to want 1 cup of sand. Any kind of sand will do. This is sand directly from our sandbox outside, so it's not the world's cleanest sand. If you have, unsullied play sand, that's a great thing to do. But this is sort of playground sand, and it should work for this too. Or even sand that you find at the beach.
Are we pouring it in?
Yep, right in here.
Why aren't we pouring it in the soap? All of it?
Because we're not quite there yet. So I'm going to take this leaf out. All right.
There's a lot of stuff.
So now we've got to mix the sand with something that might be familiar to you guys if you've watched us in previous weeks. And that is everyone's favorite, cornstarch. One of the most fun things to play with. So we have in here.
One of my favorites.
You love cornstarch. So we're going to use about half a tablespoon of cornstarch here.
You poured into that. I don't want to get dirty.
Okay. cornstarch is very messy. It just splat everywhere and it's hard to clean up. So, you know, try to keep it fairly contained. And you might recognize that if we're mixing cornstarch and water, that's what we did a couple of weeks ago, to make oobleck. And so when we do this, it's going to have some similar properties to the oobleck. And we don't actually need to use that much of it. I'm going to take another leaf out. Because I imagine not a lot of you guys are going out to the store to buy a whole lot of play sand at the moment. All right. So we just mix it up with the sand. And now, what we're going to do...
Hey, cornstarch. I get it off of my hand.
Is we're going to add some of the sand to the water. Okay? And we're going to add it just like we did with the Play-Doh. We're going to add it gradually. So we're going to add sand, mix it up.
This will be very gross and from outside.
It's not like you spent a while in the sandbox today, is it?
Yeah.
More in. And pour the rest in there. Very good. Okay.
We're making more Play-Doh and Kinetic Sand.
So we're going to mix this together. And then I'm going to drain out some of the excess water. So I think I actually used a little more water than I really wanted to. Drain out some of the excess water here.
Can I hold it? Is it cornstarchy?
It's not cornstarchy. It's actually mostly just like sand, sort of like sand that you get at the beach.
Oh.
And so what you'll do...
You mean wet sand? Can I
Mm-hmm.
feel it?
Mm-hmm. All right. So if you look at it, it's going to look sort of like wet sand. And you're going to want to sort of drain out as much excess water as you can and leave it to dry. Okay? Squeeze it.
And Daddy?
And now what this sand is going to do is it's going to have properties similar to wet sand even when it dries out. So it's going to be it's not going to get all over your hands. It's not going to get it shouldn't get all over your stuff. What you want to do is you just want to make sure that some of this water evaporates out or pours out. Okay. What are you doing that face for?
Because I needed to tell you that.
All right. So we're going to put this over here, and then we're going to let that dry out. And so what you've got over here is you've got some kinetic sand, and you've got some Play-Doh. And you want to just let those...
Play-Doh.
The Play-Doh's over here. And you want to let these dry out as much as you can. And you should have some kinetic sand and some Play-Doh to play with together. You want to feel the Play-Doh? Go. Right? It feels pretty Play-Doh-y now. As we let it cool and dry, it's taking on more of the properties of Play-Doh and getting a little bit less sticky. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you. We will see you next week. Thank you so much, and we hope that you're safe and well at home. And if you do make any of this stuff, definitely show us. Send us some pictures of what you've made, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Now can I tell you?
Say bye.
Bye.